Okay, I think we'll get started. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to St. George's Cathedral in Kingston, Ontario. It's Thursday, April the 9th at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Michael Capon, the music director here at St. George's Cathedral, and we're here gathering live right now for to share some music together. So thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoy the program. This is a Holy Week program. We're, of course, in the middle of Holy Week, the time of year when we recall the events leading up to the crucifixion and death of Jesus prior to the resurrection on Easter Day. So this was a difficult time for the disciples, of course, a very dark time. Their expectations were completely overturned. The world was turned upside down. They didn't know where they were or what they were doing. Things were not unfolding as they expected. So it was a very dark time for them. And I thought I would start by playing some music of Paul Hindemith, which may perhaps reflect that sense of disorientation. Paul Hindemith wrote this sonata in the early 1930s, or a little later, around 1937. This was also a dark time for the world when Hindemith was writing his music. It was a time when a lot of composers were rejecting anything to do with the old world. And along with that, one of the things they rejected was tonality. Paul Hindemith, though, hung on to the concept of tonality, and he incorporated that into his music and developed a very unique voice. He stretched the boundaries of tonality, but there was always a sense of resolution in his music, a sense of settling at the end. So it's one of the concepts of tonality that we begin in a certain place, we move away from that, out of that comfort zone, to somewhere maybe less comfortable, less certain, and maybe confusing, and then there's a resolution, there's a return or a settling at the end. We see this in Paul Hindemith's music, both in the small scale and the large scale. Small scale phrases tend to have some kind of resolution to them. So even as we listen to the music, we may find it's taking us somewhere maybe in an uncomfortable place or something confusing, but we're in good hands with Paul Hindemith because he always brings us back to some kind of resolution. We may end up in a different place from where we started, but we always settle somewhere. So these are two movements from Paul Hindemith's second organ sonata. The first movement is called Lebhaft, which means lively, and the second movement, Ruhig, which means peaceful. So next we'll hear another Sonata number 2, this time the Sonata number 2 by Felix Mendelssohn. This piece happens to be a favorite piece of our Dean and Rector here at the Cathedral, the very Reverend Don Davidson, affectionately known as Dean Don. So I would like to dedicate the performance of this piece to Dean Don, and also to all the clergy who may be tuned in today. This is, of course, a tough time for all of us, but it's especially difficult for clergy who are separated from their flock, so to speak. Jesus tells a parable of a shepherd who had 100 sheep, and one of them went missing. And the shepherd was very distressed, so upset that the shepherd left behind all the other sheep and went looking for the one. And so I think it maybe we can understand a little bit what clergy are feeling. They're separated not just from one, but from all of the people in their care in this time of isolation. So this is for all the clergy out there, and especially to Dean Don. Mendelssohn Sonata number 2. This is a 3-movement piece. The first movement begins with, is in 2 sections. It begins with a section labeled Grave, which is very slow, with some block chords. And then it transitions into a melody with a running accompaniment underneath it. The second movement is a very grand, stately piece. Almost sounds like a procession of some kind. And then the third movement is a fugue. So this is Mendelssohn's Sonata number 2. So we'll finish with today's piece by Bach. As I mentioned last week, I plan to do a piece by Bach each week, each time I do one of these recitals. So today's piece is Bach's setting of the chorale tune Schmücke, dich. Today is Maundy Thursday in Holy Week. This is the day when we remember the institution of the Last Supper that Jesus had with his disciples, and in particular his new commandment that he gave to us. And the name Maundy Thursday comes from the Latin mandare, which means law, and it refers to the new law that Jesus gave us, and when he said, here's the new commandment, to love one another as I have loved you. So the chorale tune Schmücke, dich is often sung at communion time, which is the recreation or remembrance of the Last Supper. And the text begins, "Deck yourself, my soul, with gladness. Leave the gloomy haunts of sadness. Come into the daylight's splendor. There with joy your praises render." It's ironic that we're remembering the institution of we're remembering the Last Supper at a time when we are not able to get together for meals with friends. So today we are looking back at that very special meal, but we also look forward to the time when we will be able to enjoy a meal again together with family and friends. So this will be the closing piece in the recital today for Holy Week, Schmücke, dich by J.S. Bach. thank you again for joining me today, for tuning in, for forming this virtual community together. I will, God willing, perform again next week. It'll be a post-Easter concert, so it'll be a little more jolly than today. We'll do some Bach, of course. I'm thinking of the D major Prelude and Fugue, which is just a delight. I've got some music by Kingston's own David Cameron lined up, and then the incomparable Louis James Alfred Lefebvre-Valey. Should be a lot of fun next week, so I hope to see you again next week. Before then, of course, we will be celebrating Easter here at the Cathedral with our online worship on Sunday morning at 10:30. If you want to check out the Cathedral website, stgeorgescathedral.ca, there will be information about the service there. We'll, of course, have some organ music. We'll have Tanya Fifield singing I Know That My Redeemer Liveth. And we will have a nice celebration of Easter. I hope you'll be able to tune in for that as well. As always, we very much appreciate your financial support. If you're able, please do again check out the Cathedral website for ways that you can donate. We have a Canada Helps page. There's an email address for e-transfers. We can take credit card numbers over the phone, and we can also accept checks. So if you visit our website, stgeorgescathedral.ca, we would very much appreciate your support. Thank you again for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a very good Holy Week and Easter season, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Till then, stay strong, stay well, courage. Goodbye.